Hello, welcome back. We're going to continue the series with UDK, and we're going to create a deathmatch interior level. And so, basically, where we left off was we created the outside main room for the deathmatch. So now we're going to make smaller rooms on the outside. So the next room we're going to create is going to be a smaller room. So let's go ahead and right-click over the cube. And let's go ahead and type in 512 and by 512 by 512. And we're going to make it hollow. We're going to make the wall thickness at 8 instead of 16, which will be 6 inches. This will work really well and attach to the main room perfectly. Now notice that because we haven't messed with the orientation of the BSP, we're going to be fine. It's right on top of the red line, which is the kill zone. That's what we want to use as the floor. You don't want to push the cube down any farther. If it's up high, you need to bring it back down again. Another thing to mention is your grid snap. So right now it's at 16. That might be a little high for you if you get stuck on something and you can't get it just perfectly aligned. You can go to a smaller level and it will refine it down to a point where you can actually get that working or moving it down to where you need it. Alright, so that's worth mentioning. Let's go ahead and get this saved. So built, so build, close, and then Control A for add. So what we want to do with this cube then is we kind of want to move it over. So let's go ahead and click on it and move it over. And you can see that we've created another CSG, an added CSG. So an additive CSG. And since it's hollow, we don't have to hollow it out any. We don't have to do any extra things. So let's go ahead and from the top view here, let's go ahead and probably what we should do is go ahead and move this. Well, let's leave it there for now. Let's go ahead and right-click over, and this is going to be the bigger room. So the bigger room is going to be 1024 by 1024 by 512, and this will be also hollow, 8 wall thickness. Go ahead and build, cancel, and do a Control A on that one. Now, don't worry for intersecting anything. It's not going to be a problem. Let's now just move this out of the way. Okay, so what we want to do now is at this point, we don't really need this guy right here. You see that? That's our ground. And since this is going to be a self-contained, we're going to be inside. We're not going to have any outside doors. We're not going to go outside. We're not going to play on the outside. Let's go ahead and delete that. There we go. Alright, so what we can do with these guys here is I'm going to set my grid snap up a little higher. So at 16, I think what I want to do is center everything. So if we do that, I think this will give us more easier to move. So let's go ahead and center that one. Let's click on this smaller one and center that one as well. So this is what we're doing here is we're just going to center these in the center. And you can kind of tell where you're at because the DS-Lite is centered exactly. And what we want to do is we want to center these guys exactly in the center at this point. And we're always watching to make sure we're on the ground floor. So with that done, now we can go to a higher grid snap, and let's do 128. So basically click on the check mark, or the arrow, excuse me, and go to 128. Now when we click on these guys, we can click on them and they'll snap at a larger value. Okay, what that's going to do for us is it's going to allow us to have things snap perfectly. So you can see how this is snapping perfectly over. So that's going to be a lot nicer than kind of guesstimating. So at this point we're just going to move that over and down to the corner. Okay, so we're kind of wanting to make sure that this is kind of angled exactly right in the center. So you can see that a line, imaginary line going across here. Okay, And we have a measuring tool. It's kind of nice. If you hit the middle mouse button, you can actually measure that. Okay, which is kind of cool. So you can see that this is pretty close, and it's kind of lining up exactly where I want it. So in the next video, I'll show you how to duplicate these rooms around, and then we'll create hallways.